just yesterday.
I'm sorry.
Y'all ready? All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you for attending the 11 a.m. press conference for Chatham County and its municipalities. I would like to give you an update on the storm. On the graphic behind me, you see the 11 a.m. update for Hurricane Debby. Overnight, it did become a hurricane. It made landfall this morning on the panhandle of Florida. It is currently making its way across the panhandle of Florida. It's anticipated to arrive in Georgia as far as the center of circulation sometime overnight into Tuesday. So we are preparing for that. We do have an emergency declaration in place, not only from the state, but we also have the county's emergency declaration in place. We have 4 municipalities who have likewise issued an emergency declaration as well. The city of Tybee Island, the city of Savannah, the city of Pooler, and the city of Port Wentworth all have emergency declarations in place as well. So currently we do have our Emergency Operations Center activated. We are monitoring the current conditions as well as the anticipated conditions of Hurricane Debby as it makes its way across southeast Georgia. We are anticipating that we will go into a tropical storm. We will remain in a tropical storm warning at least through tomorrow afternoon. We are also in a storm surge warning. This morning we were placed in a tornado watch that is scheduled to expire at 4 p.m., but I do anticipate that that will either be extended or another tornado watch will be issued for coastal Georgia. As this storm moves closer to us, it does have a significant tornado potential associated with it. So we are expecting tropical storm force winds starting tonight around 11 p.m. and continuing at least to the morning hours of Tuesday morning. A large portion of rain is expected to really influence the road networks throughout Chatham County starting tonight, and we are anticipating the rainfall to continue at various levels of intensity through Thursday, which is why we have issued the emergency declaration. I mentioned yesterday that we are expected to see unprecedented levels of rainfall and unprecedented flooding potential throughout Chatham County. So we have been working with our elected officials, we've been working with our public safety partners throughout the county as well as throughout the region to make sure that everybody is aware of what the conditions are. They have moved all of their response assets into places that are strategically located throughout the county to make sure that we can respond appropriately and effectively to areas in which we feel like could be potential issues. With this unprecedented rainfall, we do anticipate there are going to be areas that flood that traditionally don't flood. We've got all of the municipalities have public works representatives located in our Emergency Operations Center so we can maintain and maximize our situational awareness throughout the county. So as a community overall, I think we are prepared for this storm. All of our public safety, our public works, our elected officials, all of our partners throughout the entirety of the county are ready for this storm. So we put all preparedness measures that we can put in place are in place. Coordination efforts have been taking place since Saturday morning. We'll be wrapping up a few of those coordination efforts today, making sure that we've got everything in place. We do have several partners with us today behind me. They all showing their support for the direction of the county. And I would like to invite up our Chatham Area Transit for an announcement on CAT services.
Good morning. Currently, the plan for Chatham Area Transit is to pull all buses off of the street by 6 p.m. today. There will be no service on Tuesday or Wednesday, and that's contingent upon, of course, how the water is. Water, of course, pose major damage to our rolling stock. The same schedule is in place for our ferry service as well.
Thank you, Ms. Cutter. As I mentioned earlier, City of Savannah does have a state of emergency in effect, and Mayor Johnson would like to address some issues from the City of Savannah.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Kegler, Director Jones, and my colleagues from across Chatham County for their leadership and their support in challenging times. For us, the city of Savannah has issued a curfew that will go into effect at 10 o'clock p.m. to 6 a.m., consistent with the rest of our partners in Chatham County. This is nothing to play with. If you don't have to be on the street, then don't be on the street. If you have to go to work, if you have emergency, whatever the case may be, this curfew is not for us for a pipe dream. This is for us to make sure that as few people on the street as possible. We want to make sure that our emergency responders are as safe as possible. They have families too. We don't want to put them in danger trying to get you. And so for us, we're asking if you don't have to be on the streets. Dennis has just said at 11 o'clock we're expecting these storms. It's been raining pretty hard. It's already some localized flooding in some areas already. And so we know over the next 11 hours this is going to get progressively worse. So we're asking our folks to please, if you don't have to be out, don't. And then to our local businesses, we have a responsibility to keep our employees safe. You have a responsibility to keep your employees safe. So, if you just can, we're asking that you show your employees some grace by allowing them to be able to leave and get home in a safe manner. Ultimately, there's always tomorrow after this, and we have to get to that. The city has 4 sandbag locations. Yesterday, I think they were all depleted. There was a great response. And thank everyone for coming out and doing that. We will be replenishing those today. We will release the schedule as it becomes available. We're certainly very concerned about our homeless neighbors. And so the Chatham Savannah Authority for the Homeless and our partners are working through those plans to be able to provide shelter for those who want it. And so we're checking that out as well. And we're asking everyone also to make sure, we have seniors, we have those that are medically fragile in our community. We have people who are widows and widowers and those who just need somebody to call and check. We're all in this together. We're all going in together. We all have to come out of it together. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Mayor mentioned about the 4 locations in the city of Savannah for sandbags. There's actually 11 locations throughout the county. Any citizen who wishes to fill some sandbags, I encourage you to get with your municipality to find out where their location is. Port Wentworth has asked me to announce that they did run out of sand yesterday. They have already replenished those sites. They've got 2 sites in Port Wentworth, so those sites are ready to go. Is that accurate? Those sites are ready to go again. So next, I'd like to invite up the mayor for the city of Puller, Mayor Williams, to make an announcement.
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to announce I am here today. I'm joined by our Chief of Police, Ashley Brown. And I would like to make the announcement that our city council meeting that was scheduled for tonight at 6 p.m. because of changes in the decisions that the county has made, we are rescheduling that for Monday, August 12th at 6 p.m. City staff continues to work with SEMA and we'll have representatives at the SEMA EOC. Our sand that we had in Puller was replenished several times yesterday. We were back out there with a fresh load this morning at 8 a.m. So if you need sandbags, we still have them at the Puller Rec on Rogers Street in the parking lot. And that's all I have for today. Thank you very much. That's 2.
So, as I'm learning, the municipalities in the county are providing the sand and the sandbags. For those who are interested in getting sandbags, you'll need to bring your own shovel. We don't have a large contingency of shovels, so that is a condition of being able to get some sandbags. So municipalities in the county are providing sand and sandbags, but please bring your own shovel. All right, last, to wrap it all up, I'd like to turn it over to Chairman Ellis.
Good morning. This morning we have gathered after we've had the command policy hall meeting this morning. We continuously brief on what the conditions are and come before us. And so we've come together now to issue this resolution declaring a continuous state of emergency due to the Tropical Storm Debby and the implementation of a mandatory curfew beginning August the 5th, 2024 at 10 p.m. and continuing until August the 6th, 2024 4 at 6 p.m. All of the municipalities will then also put in a curfew. Heard the mayor from Savannah said that they are going to put in their curfew will go into effect. Everyone's curfew will go into effect at 10 o'clock tonight because the information that we have, all right, that's coming to us from the National Weather Service Station and from our partners tells us when this rain should hit us, this wind should hit us somewhere by 11 p.m. tonight. And it's going to be a blinding rain, so it's going to be hard for folks to be driving or walking in the rain and be walking. You won't be able to see in front of you. And we take into consideration those of our officers and things that we need to have on the street. So we're asking folks to go home and hunker down, okay? And please, ma'am, please, sir, observe the curfew in every municipality in this county and the countywide curfew, because we are trying to keep you safe. And in order to do that, we have to make hard decisions. We have to make decisions in real time, all right? And this is one of those real-time things. As we get more information and we get briefed by the National Weather Service Station, I'm not saying things won't change, but as of right now, the reason for us coming together to give you update as we get update, okay, in our EOC Center, okay, as they get updates and they're informed as to what is going on. And you heard then Director Jones said that even the tornado warning is expected to be extended, all right, past the 4 o'clock hour that it is now. That's because things are changed rapidly. We don't know whether the storm is going to speed up or slow down. But one of the things we do know is that we have been advised by the National Weather Service that it may stall out in our area, which will create flooding where there's never been flooding before, all right? And so we want to make sure that we have people in safe places so that we can account for them. We ask neighbors, please be neighbors and check on all of your neighbors, especially the elderly neighbors that's in your neighborhood. Please check on those folks between the night as this storm comes in and tomorrow, all right, and then again tomorrow into Wednesday as we proceed through this. So there is a chance that this curfew will be extended, but we'll take that up again tomorrow when the command policy group meets. At this time, if there are any questions from the media, I entertain it while I'm signing the curfew order. Media? Yes, sir.
More for the city of Savannah, just can you talk about the work that has gone on to clear the stormwater drains and prepare the pump stations? I mean, we saw what happens on just a typical summer day, just the other day with some of the neighborhoods. So what are y'all expecting as far as flooding potential goes in the preparedness of the stormwater infrastructure?
Thank you for the question. Jay Melder, City Manager, City of Savannah. Our water resources department, our stormwater crews, our water and sewer infrastructure teams have been out for the last 10 days, clearing all of our storm drains, trying to get to as many catch basins as we can. I think there's a total of about 14,000 catch basins within the city. We have several pumps in our canals. We've been running those pumps and lowering the waters in all of our canals, expecting for the heavy storms. We also want our community members to help out and make sure that the storm drains in front of their homes are clear of the debris that they can get out, that their garbage cans and other debris are secured so that they don't fall over and spill into our stormwater drains and become a problem or drainage issues as the event unfolds. Of course, our stormwater system in the city of Savannah can handle about 2 to 2.5 inches of rain per hour before we start seeing street flooding, and we know where the street flooding usually happens. With what's been forecasted and what the National Weather Service has called historic or unprecedented rainfall totals for our area, with a probability of less than 1% happening on any given year in our area. This is a once in 1,000 year potential rainfall event. And so we have to be mindful of that. We're going to make sure that everything is in place, that our system is working as well as it can be. With that much water, we are going to see flooding. We're going to see street flooding. We're going to see street flooding where flooding always happens during summer thunderstorms, and we're going to see flooding where we don't see flooding. most often. So be aware of what's happening on your street, be aware of what's happening in your neighborhood, call 311, use the 311 app, let us know what you're seeing so that we can respond to those events, and if it's an emergency, please call 911.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Jake Shore with The Current. I think we all know what a curfew is, but I'm hoping you might be able to be a little bit more clear about what is this a specifically like enforceable thing if you're driving past 11 p.m. and, you know, an Chatham County or Savannah police officer sees you? Is that a ticketable thing? Like, what does it mean in practice is what I'm
Okay, what it means in practicality is that what the law enforcement officer will do is those who are traveling to and from work, all right, you may be just getting off at work at 11, and so you'll be able to pass with no problems. But what we want to do is clear the street of the folks who linger, all right, folks who just want to go around and see, all right, because some of them don't have good intentions. So the officers will have the discretion as to how we do this and who they encounter on the streets. This is designed to keep folks safe, all right? If any of you have ever driven, and I know I have, all right, I've been driving and I had to pull over because the rain was so intense. You couldn't see in front of you, all right? And so that will minimize accidents, all right? And will minimize even folks running off the road. Because I remember when it rained so hard until right behind the Overthought Mall, all right behind Emmanuel Church, folks went in that ditch, okay, and had to be pulled out. Those are the kinds of things we are preventing. This is not a martial law type thing, but it's designed to help us to move our system around the county safer. Right? That's what the purpose for the curfew is, to get folks out of the way of what you've never seen before. All right, this type of rain hovering over us, coming with the intensity that they tell us that it's coming, it's going to catch a whole lot of people by surprise. And so we're trying to make decisions that will help you to be safe.
And then just quickly, I'm hoping one of y'all can expand a little bit on the Savannah Chatham Homeless Authority plans. I know Mayor Johnson mentioned it, but any specifics y'all can provide?
Well, our homeless citizens are those at risk most because they don't have the shelters, and so we're working with the Homeless Authority to get them into a shelter. And the Homeless Authority, they didn't get here, all right, so we are still continuously in the EOC Center. We're continuously talking to them of how we help to get folks into places of safety in our homeless population. How that looks, I think we'll determine this, make a decision as we go, all right? Because some of them are gonna be resistant to moving from where they are, and we understand that, okay? But we are going to make the effort to get them into a safer place.
Sure, if I may.
Sure.
We also have a street team that is out. They know these individuals by name. And so the goal is, and probably rightfully so, their time needs to be literally interacting with people. We'll have them release a report of what they're doing. But the fact is they have a very small window to make sure people are secure, because we have to get that staff off as well. As the chairman has said. Go ahead.
I can add some information to that. I'll share a flyer that our partners at the Homeless Authority are sharing to customers of the homelessness system. And we can make sure that this flyer gets out to media as well. For Tropical Storm Debby, the emergency shelter information from August 5th to August 7th. Of course, we have the Union Mission Grace House, 120 Farm Street, Salvation Army, 3100 Montgomery Street, Come As You Are, 4429 Skidaway Road, Family Promise, which has numerous facilities and programs. For folks who are experiencing homelessness or people who are trying to help someone experience homelessness, they can call our Homeless Authority for help with transport or outreach, and that number is 912-675-9027. Again, 912-675-9027, and we're really appreciative of the Homeless Authority's help and all of our service providers in the homelessness space.
Anything else? Yes, sir.
Quick question. For more countywide, I know the city has released several of those problem areas that are prone to flooding. But for people throughout the county outside of the city of Savannah, I know you mentioned that this is a storm where, places that don't normally experience flooding are going to. But are there any places that people should, you're looking at with major concern countywide?
Sure. The area you take, for instance, our outlying areas, let's take Burnside Island, for instance, okay? Burnside Island will normally flood when there is not just a high tide storm but when you have a king tide, okay, the road there will probably flood. And so we're looking at that as one of the areas that we need to pay a whole lot of attention to. Isle of Hope, all right, Dutch Island, Skidaway Island, parts of Whitmarsh Island, also what's on the other side of going down towards 80. Yeah, Wilmington Island, but Tulahi and those areas, all right? Those areas which commonly does flood or just accumulate water, we're looking at all of those, and then we're looking at the water. Listen, when they get filled, the water's got to still go somewhere, all right? And so we're looking for it to come either further inland. So on the west side, we're looking out at Little Neck Road, Chevis Road, Quaco Road, John Carter Road, all around Stell Park, all right, for waters and things. And that goes to our municipalities and things on the west side, in Bloomingdale and Pope Wentworth and Poole and the city of Savannah and unincorporated. We're looking at all those things that normally flood, okay? There is a great chance that they will have even more water than before, and that's what I mean. There are some new subdivisions that have been built on the west side, all right, and they've had flooding issues in the past. And so we look forward to them having these kinds of flooding issues now because the water's coming, all right? The storm has already proved that the water is coming. If you watch the news, the national news this morning as to what happened around Fort Myers and the rest of it, we can expect some of that same stuff here today. Yes, sir.
We talked about what people can be doing yesterday. Now that we're getting some of those outer bands in our region, I mean, what can people be doing today? I know a lot of people are off work, school. How can they best prepare today?
Well, that's one of the reasons that all of us have come up with the sandbags. All right. There are places at homes who are ground level, but you probably need to put sandbags at your doors, all right, for water that will show up. Also, what we're trying to do is make sure that folks get in a place of comfort, all right, because there are streets that may not have flooded before that probably will flood this time. But if we're more prepared and you're more ready for it, then you could, there probably even be some businesses that need to have sandbags, all right, to block their doorways and things so that water wouldn't come up under their waterways. All right? Did I get your question? Okay. Any other? Yes, ma'am.
For people's vehicles, where should they park? Because, usually it floods and they get scattered around. Should they park in parking garages or just leave their car where it is?
That's a $64,000 question. And the reason I say that is because parking is limited. All right? Even if we say to you, you can take your cars to the city parking garage or the county parking garage, and then they flood. I can remember well when folks thought it was all right to leave their cars down on River Street, all right? And all of a sudden, it was root deep in water. So we don't know exactly where this water is going, but we do know it's going somewhere. But for most people, I think if you just park your car in your driveway or somewhere on the street, you may even have to move it from one end of your street to another because the south end may flood and the north end may not flood. So it's just a matter of moving. And they have to pay attention to how the water is building up, all right? And so that's why I say it's a $64,000 question because you're going to have to do this in real time, okay? But if I was able to predict what street was going to flood and what, then I could tell people don't park on that one, all right? But I know sometimes coming down Drayton Street is a challenge, all right? Going on East Henry Street, when you pass Atlantic and go under the subway, it's probably no place to go during this time, all right? The road to Burnside Island, those on the inside probably won't get out, and those on the outside probably won't get in when this water gets here.
And then for Anderson Street, me and my photographer were out there earlier. We saw the drains. They were trying to, like, I guess, get rid of all the debris inside.
Right.
Is it okay for it to be left out? Because I know the dirt is not covering that up. Is that okay during, like, storms?
You mean to leave it open?
Yeah.
No.
No.
We don't want anybody falling in it.
Oh, well.
All right, so that's why there's a cover on it. We want the passageway for the water to go through, but we can't just leave it open because then somebody might drive into it or somebody might walk into it. All right, because we don't know who's walking and who's driving. So no, that's not a good idea just to leave it open
Okay, well, Anderson Street.
on Anderson Street. All right, that's one of those things you give to the city manager. All right.
Mr. Chairman, let me just
Sure.
add about the parking garage.
Come on.
Thank you. Just to reiterate what the chairman's saying, everybody's going to be worried about their cars. You know, I wouldn't park it in a place that you know is going to flood. Keeping it close to the house is probably the best scenario, but certainly don't try to move your car once the storm starts coming. That's the whole point of the curfew. We want people to be moving as little as possible. The parking garages for the city, especially downtown, parking garages will be free for parking beginning at 5 o'clock today. The bottom floors of those parking lots do flood, and they will be cordoned off, so please don't park your car on the bottom floor of any city garages. We've also closed the parking lots on River Street. We've done that several days ago in anticipation for the storm. But I think the most important thing is if you're going to do anything with your car, do it now. But otherwise, you know, don't start moving it once the rain comes and the storm event comes. We want you to be safe and off the roads. Those are going to be the most dangerous places to be.
Where at the street sweepers for the city, are they running during this time, or?
They ran last night. We'll cease normal operations today at 5, so no street sweeping tonight. We are scheduled to resume pending the impacts of the storm on Wednesday, but we'll make that call later today whether or not we'll have sanitation and street cleaning services on Wednesday. But tonight, those operations have been suspended. Today, we are doing a full sanitation pickup across the city of Savannah, so if you have a Monday collection date, your trash and your recycling is being collected. And again, just a reminder for folks to secure your trash bins, especially if they've got trash in them. So secure them, make sure that they're not going to become a hazard in the streets or debris that's going to collect in our catch basins and further disturb our stormwater system.
Finally, for me, we've gotten a lot of calls this morning about Highway 80 out to Tybee. What's the threshold for closing that highway, if at all, and is that something y'all are preparing for at this point?
Highway 80 going out to Tybee with a king tide normally gets water encroachment around 9.3 feet. Thankfully, the tide sequence is not something that we're too concerned about. Out further toward the island, the water has a lot of different places to go. But if it does start to encroach into Tybee Island, that's when law enforcement or the Georgia Department of Transportation will make a decision to close that roadway. Oftentimes, they leave a small pathway. If it doesn't have water encroachment across the entire road, they'll leave a small pathway open to get traffic flow to and fro. But if it does become completely impassable, then DOT or law enforcement will make the decision to close the roadway.
Again, let me stress to the citizens of Chatham County, all right, now is the time for us to be prepared. All right, we've been preparing for hurricanes, but now this is coming early, all right, because normally we get a chance to watch August and September go by, but this time we don't have that option, all right? And so from today on, let us prepare ourselves even as we go into the hurricane season, all right, because we don't know the intensity of any storm until it gets here. But there are things that you can do. Make sure your medication is up on time, all right? Make sure you have all the supplies that you have. Expect some outages, all right? Sometime tonight or early tomorrow. Expect some power outages. Georgia Power is working on that. They have their folks staged in areas. And so this team, along with all the other partners we have in the command policy, are working to do the best we can, and we are working from the worst scenario to the best scenario, all right? So that we probably can dot all the i's and cross all the t's. Again, let me say thank you, and let's everyone be safe, all right? Thank you.